The main thing is to protect these characters. Make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them. Thank you. To live in the way that you created them. To live in the way that you created them. And that the universe of Star Wars continues to grow.
Lightsabers.
Good evening, Saber friends. SpaceWindu here. Thought I would talk to you tonight about Star Wars. When was the last time we really talked about Star Wars? I think it's been a while. It is Saber time. It is Saber time, but I figure we could talk about Star Wars, talk about some new Saber stuff that I'm testing. New neopixel strip from KR Sabers. I've got a strip all wired up. I've got a Profi tester board all wired up. You know, apparently the strip does require you to set the lightsaber board to a really high number of LEDs because it's got 268 LEDs in it. The one weird thing, well, you know, I'll get to that blade in a little bit because I have a couple things, you know, we'll look at. And although I'm not able to light test that blade yet because it's just a plain strip out in the open, we could at least take a close look at some of that new tech, a new toy.
Whoa, a new toy! Can I play?
You guys want to see my latest saber, my best saber, my latest new saber? This is something from the Custom Saber Shop. This has the Custom Saber Shop logo on it. This is a little mini saber. Oh, it's upside down. Keychain. It's pretty bright. It's a pretty good little saber, isn't it? It's a pretty nice little saber. It's actually like, how do you say, like one of those fiber optic type of things. So it's actually works really good as a lightsaber, to be quite honest. That's nice. Actually, look, it even looks like the main button's illuminated because that's how bright the beam inside the plastic, you know, the light must come down that far. It's pretty cool. Thanks, TCSS. This is a cool little keychain. This is in my last box. Pretty happy that it's green. Pretty happy that it's green. Green is real nice. But of course, you know, if you got a Luke or a Graflex lightsaber like this, Ray lightsaber, whatever you want to call it, definitely need blue. With all the new stuff, you could change the color. You know, you could change the color to whatever you want, but blue is nice. Also, Anakin Skywalker, Attack of the Clones.
I killed them all. They're dead. And not just the men, but the women and the children too. They're like animals, and I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them.
He hates them. He can't stand them. Killed them all. This one's not a smooth swing. This one's a little harder to get to swing. It's a little more fun when you're swinging it around out in the open, but to get the real, you know, this one's got smooth swing. CF10. Oh, I look like the Force Unleashed. I look like I'm like the Force Unleashed right now. Pretty cool. They're both neopixel. Smooth swing seems to make a big difference, doesn't it? But I do want to show you. Let's like have a heart-to-heart because we haven't talked Star Wars 1-to-1. I mean, when was the last time we talked 1-to-1? When was the last time we talked Star Wars face-to-face? Just you and me. I don't know, but it's been a while. And let's look at something that I just think is... I've mentioned this before. Okay, I've mentioned Cyberpunk Luke. I've mentioned Cyberpunk Luke artwork before, and let's see here. You know, this is the art. This is the art I'm talking about. So this is like takes place between episode. I think it's like meant to take place between episode 5 and 6. So it's like you could see this lightsaber in Luke's hand is not the Graflex that was taken away months before by Darth Vader. He's wearing the gloved hand, so you could tell that he's got his robotic hand, but this is like a rebuilt lightsaber. And it's like a different storyline where, you know, I mean, look at R2. You know, it's a different comic or storyline or fan art. But just look how rad this is. Don't you guys feel like the best part of the movies that they've like the past 5 movies, Solo, Rogue One, Episode 7, 8, and 9, the best minute in all of that was the Darth Vader scene. You know, the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One was the best minute out of the past 5 movies. And could you imagine what could have been done? I would say the second best minute out of the past 5 movies may have been the flashback scene in episode 9 between Luke and Leia training, right? So Leia has her lightsaber. She's training to be a Jedi. She's training, or, you know, maybe not to be a Jedi, but she seems like she's training to use the Force, right? She's training to use Jedi abilities. And if you think of what they could have done, maybe, okay, so the Darth Vader scene from Rogue One, so spectacular, and took place before episode 4, you know, right before episode 4, leading up to episode 4. You see a spectacular minute of lightsaber combat choreography, blaster bolt deflection, and Force using capabilities by the one and only Darth Vader, the chosen one, right? You get to see him in all his glory. And it was arguably the best minute out of the past 5 films. Then we do another flashback in episode 9, going back to what would have been shortly after Return of the Jedi, right? So it's like Luke training Leia in use of the Force. And that looked pretty rad. I mean, that looked pretty rad to me. That was the best part of this sequel trilogy, in my opinion, just getting that little glimpse. Maybe it was 40 seconds, maybe it was a minute, maybe it was 2 minutes of that. Now, you take this cyberpunk artwork right here, this Luke, cyberpunk Luke, and imagine this is in between episode 5 and episode 6. Now, we're going to spin off into a new storyline that they didn't do in the movies. This is just my idea I'm kind of coming up with right now. What if they did a flashback scene, right? And we're talking maybe episode 7. So episode 7 kicks off. There's some kind of threat. There's some kind of calamity going on in the galaxy. And all our heroes are at the age that they were in The Force Awakens, right? So they are, maybe they're 50s, maybe they're 60. And they have a flashback, though, to in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. Now, you really wouldn't need Han, right? Because Han's frozen in carbonite, but you could have easily used the Luke and Leia young versions, the CGI young versions, and it would have been spectacular to see some kind of threat or some kind of enemy or some kind of clues and hints that they would have maybe uncovered back then in that time frame in between episode 5 and 6, and we would have caught a glimpse of a cool badass Luke who wasn't yet a Jedi, but who was as cool as he was in Empire Strikes Back, right? But maybe with a little more knowledge, trying to figure shit out a bit, understand where he comes from. He's Darth Vader's son. He just figured that out. Maybe he's got some of these friends. Maybe he's got a bounty hunter friend, and they have to go on a mission. Maybe they have to disguise R2 to do it, or R2 has some new look to him a little bit here. Now, take that same threat, or whoever, maybe Leia met somebody, maybe trying to get to Han and trying to get to that point where they could save Han. They have to do, 100 other little missions in between that. Obviously, a couple years go by before Return of the Jedi comes along. They are actually to save Han. They're actually able to save Han. But there's like 2 years maybe in between there, maybe even like almost 3 years, right? So there's a lot that went on. Chewie could have been there, the droids, there could have been a bunch of new friends, and they maybe uncovered some hints or some threats. Now, fast forward again to the time of like an episode 7 would have taken place, right? Where all the actors are their current age. And that could have been the background threat of episode 7, something that we saw in this era, in that rad era. Everybody loves Empire Strikes Back. Why not use that, right? They said, no, well, we know, we need a female hero, and we have to come up with Rey. Well, if you've read the Legends, the Star Wars Legends books, right? I've got one right here. So you could see, they label them Legends right now, but these are the original Star Wars books. This is one with Mara Jade on the cover. It's called Choices of One. Come to see it. Actually, this art, doesn't this art look a little bit similar to the, at least color-wise, the way it's done a little bit to the cyberpunk stuff. That's interesting. But so that, now they call all these books Legends, right? but this was the canon, or this was not really considered canon, but it was the expanded universe. And so instead of using the expanded universe people, they wanted to go with their own new characters for episode 7 in Rey and Finn and Poe. But in trying to create a female character to lead the story, if they were a true Star Wars fan involved in creating the episode 7, 8, and 9, they would have known about Jason and Jaina Solo. And they would have known that Jaina Solo was trained by Mara Jade and actually became the Sword of the Jedi, the most powerful Jedi of the time. You did not need to make up a completely new character to represent a female character who was a strong Jedi, because Jaina was the strongest or the most powerful sword of the Jedi. They called her the Sword of the Jedi. The Sword of the Jedi was not a sword, but it was a person, and that was Jaina Solo, trained by Mara Jade. So you didn't have to completely disregard Mara Jade, completely disregard Jaina Solo, and turn Jason Solo into Ben Solo, because Ben Solo, that name doesn't mean anything to Leia and Han. You know, Han thought of Ben, old Ben, as a fool and some crazy old wizard, and Leia knew him as General Kenobi. And although she did recognize the name Ben when Luke said, "I'm here with Ben Kenobi," and I've got your R2 unit. I'm here with Ben Kenobi. And she says, "Ben Kenobi, where is he?" You know, she knows him as Ben Kenobi. She knows that that's his alias, or that's his original name. But she really knows him as General, Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it wouldn't make sense for Leia and Han to name their son Ben, because Ben had the connection to Luke. And you can remember when Luke was kind of dying in the snow in Empire Strikes Back, and he kind of calls out to Ben for help, and that's who would name their son Ben. And Luke did in Legends, in the books. He named his son Ben, which made 100% sense, right? So my point is with Mara Jade and Jason and Jaina was that you had something set up right there where there was a really, really strong Jedi who just happened to be a woman. That's Mara Jade. What if Mara Jade met Luke around this time, where like you could see this fan artwork was made right here, Cyberpunk Luke? What if this adventure that we flash back to in the real episode 7, with episode 7, that could have been more like the highlight in Rogue One of Darth Vader, that same energy, that same attitude, similar time frame, the characters we know and love, in an adventure that we could relate to, because it would fit into the Empire Strikes Back and in between. And people always wondered what happened in between. Now, you had Mara Jade in The Choices of One, which is written by Timothy Zahn, who actually kicked off the whole expanded universe in the first place when he wrote Heir to the Empire. And that was an adventure, also contained Mara Jade in it, and it was about Luke and the 3 main characters, and how they, their lives intertwined to the point where eventually Mara Jade married Luke Skywalker and they had a child. But also Mara Jade trained her niece, Jaina Solo, and that was her mentor. And you had Jaina Solo, who eventually went on to become, through, rigorous training. It didn't happen overnight. It seemed like Rey's story took place over a couple days, whereas whereas Jaina Solo actually had to achieve like, you know, the advanced age of like 33 before she was able to attain her full potential, and actually had to go train with like multiple sources. Like Jedi training wasn't the only training that she went to. She went to like Mandalorian training. She went to training with like Boba Fett and stuff like that, right? Let me show you something. I just want to show you another example of you know, the best era. Everybody knows it. Okay, you have this game here, Vader Immortal. Now, I think Gabe, I think anyone that has the the VR set like will know about Vader Immortal. It is set in between episode 3 and 4, I believe. Now we'll go over this article in a second. Let me just read. Let me see if anyone wrote something to me here. Okay, we have Melissa's World. What's going on? How are you tonight? Anakin Skywalker. Poor Annie. Poor Annie. Oh, Melissa says no new Saber updates yet, but I seen your video about force feedback, kind of helpful. It's very tactile. Yeah, I think force feedback would be pretty cool for you but you'll get some feedback from the speaker. I think in that nice slender hilt, you'll feel something from your bass speaker, and that'll actually intensify with the sound that it's playing. And I found out, you know, the Saber that I made with the force feedback, I thought it was going to like intensify and like lessen depending on the Saber's movements and stuff, but it actually doesn't. Like it doesn't gain and lose power. It's just static. Whereas the speaker's feedback does rev up and rev down depending on like what the Saber's doing. I see the Saber blade everywhere else is out of focus for me. Oh, I see the Saber blade. Everything else out of focus. Oh, like that's a bright Saber. That's a bright photonic. Banyo Boys, nice room. Oh, thank you, buddy. I was just playing with Banyo Boys on Twitch, and I was doing pretty badly. But but I was playing GTA. I was trying to help him do missions, and normally I can drive pretty good in GTA, and I'm pretty good driver. But I've been trying out some new cars and new bikes lately, and I upgraded some just cars and bikes to like some wild standards that I can't control, to be quite honest with you. And driving the vehicles that I had to drive in the missions wasn't any easier for me either. I guess I'm not used to flying a helicopter, and I ended up crashing a helicopter. Oh, the audio versions. Yeah, I wonder how that would sound to read this or to hear choices of one. I've heard other Star Wars books, and I'm super stoked when I get a Star Wars book on audiobook, because everyone I've only heard like 3 or 4. Everyone I've heard so far has like the effects, the sound effects. They're doing the different voices. It's crazy. It's like it's better than seeing the movie, I think, because you could imagine all that stuff with the help of all the sound effects. If a laser goes off, if a lightsaber ignites, they have that sound effect. And if, different people are talking, they're trying to do the different voices. It's pretty interesting. I'm actually I'm on book 2, of the Harry Potter series. I've read the Harry Potter series through the books, but now I'm like listening to them like while I work, and quite enjoying it and picking up some different things that I didn't remember by reading it. Rich Sangillo says they should have just made the Timothy Zahn series. I know. And you know what's crazy? Like the reason why I keep bringing up the the choices of one, this book right here, is because not only do I want to show you guys so that some people read the book, and then we'll do a little discussion about it. And I'll have I'll probably take us up to where there's like a third of the book left, in the discussion as far as reading some passages, because like I've marked some passages and I'm about that's like I've only got about a third left. And I've marked passages that I feel like represent, like Timothy Zahn knows the characters. And it's a great example of like a fan writing, you know, the script, or in this case, the book, a fan behind it, because when you're reading the characters' voices, you're really, you're really feeling that it's from the character's heart. When I'm reading Han Solo, I feel like, yes, that's what Han Solo would do. When I'm reading Princess Leia, I'm like, yes, that's what Princess Leia would do. But you also have to take into account like when it was. So this story takes place at, in between episode 4 and 5. So Luke is a little weaker, right? Luke doesn't know much of anything about the Force or anything like that. He hasn't met Yoda yet. He's just has the lightsaber and stuff. So Mara Jade is actually a young woman who's supremely powerful in the Force, having been trained by Darth Sidious since she was, I think, like 3 years old, they say, or in this book. Now, I didn't think that their paths came, that Mara Jade and Luke Skywalker's paths crossed before the original Timothy Zahn series, where I think they met in Wayland, where that jungle planet of Wayland, where the Emperor was like storing stuff, and Mara Jade went out there with to like, you know, you must kill Luke Skywalker type of order in her head that was left by Palpatine. I didn't think they had met before that, and this book takes place years before Return of the Jedi, and that also means years before the events that when I thought Mara Jade met Luke Skywalker, which is true still. But this book has their paths, like you could say it's like, you know, when planes almost hit each other, they call it a near miss, right? So these characters' paths, they have a near miss several times in this book so far. And I want to read to you guys, like on another stream, we'll talk about this book, and I'll read to you guys like some of the passages that I feel like really represents Leia at that time of after A New Hope and before Empire Strikes Back. So she's bickering with Han. She doesn't really think she likes Han, right? She's like, this guy's a scoundrel. And Han is himself at that time. He has not gone through his you know, his full, well, he's gone through his change, right? Because now he's with the rebellion. The rebellion trusts him and all that stuff for sure. But he's himself at that time, you know. He's a little different, right? When he wakes up in Return of the Jedi and he's trying to get used to the fact that like Luke's a Jedi and all this stuff, he has to assume kind of a different role depending on what people around him are doing. And Timothy Zahn does a great job of depicting those characters and describing what those characters would be like at the time of whatever book he's writing. And he's written several different books at several different points around the Star Wars universe, usually around the movies that we're used to. One of the ones that I like a lot, but I don't think it's like the best one, is Outbound Flight, which contains the Jedi who eventually it's so weird because like how it all kind of connects. The Jedi who eventually gets cloned as General Seaboth, I think is how you say the name, in the Heir to the Empire series trilogy. And, you know, it's kind of wild how these seeds are planted many, many years before the event in Star Wars. And that's where I get my idea of taking a time period. Like if you're going to do a flashback, right? If you're going to do a flashback, where is my silly thing here? If you're going to do the flashback at an interesting, super interesting time where we can do some callbacks, you know, and we could have some enemies that they maybe meet back at this time that continue to be a threat like 30 years later, or were a hidden threat and that came to be a threat later, with the rise or with the fall of the Empire, another power maybe in the Outer Rim, who knows, but something to where we could call back to this time of this super rad cyberpunk type Luke era of in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which everybody wants to know more about. And, we can get some cool stuff going on there. Maybe go to Coruscant, maybe go on some undercover missions, visit some, what happened to Coruscant? Like in the new movies, like they said that the galactic head was at the other planet, was like Halcyon or whatever planet got blown up. We never saw Coruscant. Completely weird that happened. So anyway, let's go back to that other Vader game, which I just wanted to read about for a second, because that seemed cool. I don't know how many people would actually get. I don't know what kind of VR stuff you need, but it says Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, is coming to PlayStation VR on August 25th. So what equipment do you need? I guess you need a headset for PlayStation VR. But this is the game I believe Gabe brought over, and I played part of this game. Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, ILM X Labs immersive cinematic exploration of Darth Vader's life set between the events Star Wars Revenge of the Sith and Star Wars A New Hope is headed to PlayStation VR later this month. So this is a game that's been out for a while for other VR units, but is now available for PlayStation VR, I'm thinking is this announcement. In a surprise announcement during Sony Interactive Entertainment State of Play broadcast today, this was a couple days ago, August 6th, ILM X Lab revealed that Vader Immortal will be available for PlayStation VR starting August 25th, 2020. The 3 episodes will be sold as a single purchase, $29.99, bringing the complete VR trilogy together for players and fans. During the broadcast event, ILM also debuted a new trailer for the epic canonical adventure, which you can watch below. I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble. Maybe I shouldn't play. Okay, so I guess you need that thing. And probably that little, there's that little thing with the light on it, that little controller. You probably need that. But this is, I don't know if this is the one that Gabe brought over. But this is got to be cool because and let me just read on. I think any lightsaber fan is going to get real excited if you don't know about this already. Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series, lets you step inside your own Star Wars story as a smuggler operating near Mustafar, the fiery world Darth Vader calls home. When you are unexpectedly pulled out of hyperspace, you find yourself uncovering an ancient mystery at the behest of the Sith Lord himself. I think I remember seeing the trailer a couple of years back for this, where like Vader kind of intimidates you. He kind of walks around you in the VR room and intimidates you, and it is kind of intimidating. It's kind of scary. It's like Vader, it's his voice. He's walking around. You feel small in the space. The series also includes the popular lightsaber dojo modes, where fans can spend hours honing their skills with iconic lightsabers and more in Vader's training dojo. So I think that's where Gabe had me do some lightsaber stuff where I was like, this looks like it. Yeah. I almost smashed my mirrors, I think that night, because you don't know where you're going and you're stepping around the room, practically elbowing whatever you have around. Created in close collaboration with the Lucasfilm Story Group, Vader Immortal, a Star Wars VR series written by David S. Goyer, Dark Knight, and Blade, and directed by Ben Snow, Star Wars Secrets of the Empire. It features Maya Rudolph, Bridesmaids, Big Mouth as your witty droid sidekick, ZOE3. and fan favorite Scott Lawrence, Star Wars Resistance as Darth Vader. Vader Immortal holds a very special place in our hearts at ILM, and we are very excited to be bringing this to PlayStation VR. So I guess it's been a few years since this actually came out, for whatever it came out for originally. But I know they have like some more advanced VR headsets out now for like other things, and the PlayStation 4 life cycle is like coming to its end. So I guess, you know, this is coming at the end of August. That's pretty crazy. You know, if you got that PlayStation VR equipment and if you already have all that equipment and then this is only $30, that sounds like fun. I don't know how much all that equipment is. If you don't already have, you know, that VR headset for PlayStation, I don't know how much that is. Excelsior Sabers episodes 7 to 9 should just be completely remade. Here we go. I love this. Remade with Lucas's original plot ideas. You know what was weird about Lucas's original plot ideas was that like it didn't even include like the people I'm talking about, like Jason and Jaina Solo and stuff like that. Who to be quite honest with you guys always seem to be like the B characters anyway, like, or I don't know, I don't want to say B characters, but it was like the books always seem to be like one step below the movies in my mind, for the stories that they told. I was like, oh, this is like the soap opera versions. You know, Lucas never completely approved of it, but it was great. It was fantastic. It was you know, I liked how they followed his rules. They said, you know, he said you can't kill Luke, you can't kill Han, you can't kill Leia. I like those rules. I like the idea. I think Lucas had the idea that Luke Skywalker lived till past 100. That's how I saw it. I saw Luke living to like maybe like 150. That's just kind of how I saw it. At least 110. You know, with like Jedi light side abilities, you would live longer than a normal human being. Unfortunately, Excelsior Saber says Carrie Fisher is gone and Harrison Ford is done with Star Wars. So the opportunity that was there is now gone. Yeah, and that's the biggest crime. I feel that that's the biggest crime that Disney pulled this go, because there really was only one chance. There really, really, really was only one chance. We all knew Harrison Ford didn't want to even do Return of the Jedi, let alone come back years later for the follow-up. He didn't want to be there, and you had to do something really, really special. And one of the reasons why he came back was because they said, look, we got everyone else back. And then one of the reasons why other people came back was they said the same reason. Look, we got everyone else back. So it was kind of, you know, even one thing Mark Hamill said, he goes, one point really, really early on, it was like, it might have even been like right when it was announced, like 2013, 2012, when this whole thing was announced with Disney, that Mark Hamill was even saying something like the fans would be so angry with him if he didn't come back. Now, he didn't really say that he didn't want to come back, but the way he was kind of saying that stuff, the way he was talking about, you know, people would be really, really angry with me if I didn't come back, kind of seemed like he might not have come back. You know what I mean? Like if it was just, if it wasn't Star Wars. If it wasn't Star Wars, I don't think he was, with such a huge fan following backing him, I don't think that he would have come back for a sequel movie 40 years later. You know, it's just that whole fan base of Star Wars behind it, and Mark Hamill kind of being like a nice guy, I guess. At least seems like it. Probably kind of coaxed him into coming back, plus probably a bunch of money. bunch of money. Space's book club. Yeah, we could start a book club with choices of one. Speaking of books, let me, you know what? Since we got a couple people in here, let me show you this KR Sabers blade, and then I have a little book thing I want to go over. It's not choices of one, but it's a book about lightsabers. Let's not ruin anything back here. Okay. All right, let me switch cameras. I want to show you something that I made. Cam. Okay, here we go. Okay. So what we have here is a weird box. You're like, what is that? Right? What is that? But that's actually a lightsaber. This is actually a lightsaber. You guys have maybe seen this is my tester. It's got a prism in it. So this, you could put like a blade up to there and a couple different plugs, attach a neopixel blade just to make sure that it's working right before you assemble it. I'm always assembling these blades and stuff, and you kind of need a way to test it. So while it, you can't wait till it's in the saber if you're building a lot of blades. Like maybe if you're going to build one blade and you're like, okay, I'll just take my chances and we'll just see if it works in the saber, But when you have all these parts like hanging out, you can't always just wait until you test it in the saber. That would be, if you have a mistake in there and you have to go back, it's a pain. It's a pain in the ass, right? So this right here is the KR Sabers blade. It's got 50/50 LED pixels, RGB pixels. As you can see, each one of these boxes is a RGB pixel with 3 diodes in it. The camera's not focusing. What a POS. The strip itself is mostly rigid, but these LEDs are very close together, which is going to make a really, really nice, dense lightsaber blade when it's in the blade. The nice rounded tip up top gets to be pushed up into a parabolic blade tip from the custom saber shop. And that will illuminate the tip really, really nicely. Right, so you might be asking yourself, all right, so what's this box for? Well, this is a tester that I had to make because I needed a tester with a Profi board in it because and I actually have to look into whether the CF10 can have a setting this high, but this blade strip here from KR Sabers needs to be set to 268 LEDs because what it is here, it's not like a normal blade situation where you have one strip backed up to the other strip. The way this is there's a strip here and a strip here, but it's not like a normal blade where, like, let's say these LEDs here were like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right? And as we go up, the computer knows that. And on this side, we also have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No. Like, that's not how this works. This one here is like on this side. Let's actually go to the beginning. So get the beginning of this in camera here. Okay, so what we have here at the beginning would be 1, right? And flip it over would be 2. Flip it over would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's why by the time we get up to the top, it's 268. And you have to set your board to see that, or else you will not see the full blade light up. And that was a problem with my prism, my Plector Labs prism tester, the box I just showed you, because it was only lighting up half the blade. And even when I set it to 180, which is the max of the prism, At least I think it is. It didn't work beyond that. It seemed to cycle back around. With the prism, when I set it to higher than 180, it seemed to cycle back around and lit up the bottom a bit. It was quite strange. So anyway, I made this tester. This has got a Profi. This is set up for 270 RGB neopixel LEDs. I got a lit button on the side here. I've got a red activation button, little speaker in there. So let's see what we can see here. Just to quick bench test it. Let's get it set up better. Whoa. So as you can see, it's I can't even look at it, honest to God. It's really, really bright. When I saw Cal's video of this strip blade inside his blade, I was pretty impressed. I'm thinking that inside the lux meter, once I get the complete blade built, I'll be testing it in the lux meter up against some of the other blades. I'm really thinking that this is going to trump just about everything. And I think when this is in a photonic blade tube, this is going to turn some heads. I think this is going to wow some people in a photonic blade tube. And I think that people are going to be very, very happy when they see that there's no little space in between anything there, because this was manufactured to a different standard than the regular strips. So you don't have a segment there that is without an LED. This is just completely blade-like already. It's very cool. Very nice. So I'll be making blades with those strips. And the cool thing about those is I'll probably be able to like lower the price on the blades using those strips, because the price of them is basically like me just buying one strip. So I'll probably be able to take like $50 off of the price of blades using the KR strip when I add those to the Civilized Saber store. For right now, I'm just kind of, I haven't even gotten it completely in a blade yet, so I'm looking at what's going on with the light tests and just my own tests, and I had to make some modifications to actually be able to test it like I showed you, because at first I couldn't see the entire blade. Zach Pennington, some guy on Reddit the other day, said that The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie and has the most compelling choreography and story. Rolls eyes. Yeah. I don't know if you guys seen that video that kind of breaks down the Praetorian Guard fight, and it's pretty comical what they have to do within the fight to make the heroes look like heroes. And, people with knives that are about to stab Rey have to step to the side and let her pass. And people who are about to attack have to belay their attack so that she could move out of the way first. And it's pretty goofy, for like a $150 million movie, for them not to get, knowing that there's going to be these sword fights, and the fact that they had Nick Gillard on set for the prequel movies, and the main actors had to do that heavy workouts and sword play and all that stuff. And I mean, even for these new movies, I saw something the other day on a video that was saying how Daisy Ridley was upset about the scenes that were cut from The Last Jedi, because she had trained so hard for these certain physical scenes, and then they decided to cut them because of strange reasons that didn't improve the story, and so Daisy Ridley was upset about that. And I mean, I could see that totally, because if you work hard on training yourself and learning these moves and trying to make the best it could be, and then no one's ever going to see it, that's pretty awful, especially when you need a redemption from what happened in The Last Jedi. In my opinion, they didn't have Rey acting like a proper Jedi, and they had her clubbing Luke, knocking Luke over, an older man, knocking him back, and he falls down, and she's threatening people, and the goofy fight between the Praetorian guards, the non-existent Knights of Ren that never show up, and a lot of goofy loose ends that people can defend it all they want, and obviously you can like the movie, you could enjoy them, gain enjoyment from them for sure, if you can, but it's like when you try to look deeper, and this is my main problem with all this new stuff, is that once you try to look deeper and you try to uncover some meaning or something that you can garner from it, that's maybe like a life lesson, or just try to get something out of it, try to look deeper, just as far as forget any lessons for yourself, but just lessons on the lore. That was one of the interesting things I like about rewatching the old Star Wars movies, the original trilogy, is that you always kind of pick up something that you could use as a fact in the lore and understand the lore a little bit better. But when you try to connect the dots with anything that they do in the new movies, kind of what you see is stuff unravels. It doesn't get tighter and stronger. Things seem to unravel a bit, and things cease to make sense when you think about it. So sometimes you see online people say, well, don't think about it too hard. It's just a fantasy movie. It's just a stupid sci-fi movie. But I don't know. I don't think about it like that. I think about it like your story should be solid. It should stand the test of time, and especially when you're basing it off of the relevant movies of the previous generation of films that really did hold up if you took a deeper look. That's what the fans were looking for. That's why we kept coming back. That's why we waited 40 years to see Luke. And then they hid Luke from us from the first movie, from episode 7. Wasn't that a raw deal? I kind of expected Luke to jump out at a certain point, like maybe in the snow at the end, or maybe he comes in to save the main characters a little bit, and he just doesn't show up. And when we find out what he was doing in the next movie, it just wasn't the Luke that we remembered. And even Mark Hamill told the director that Luke would never do this. That was a quote from Mark Hamill, that Luke would never do this. It's just the type of stuff they had him doing that, I think everybody knows. I think everybody knows that watched the original trilogy that Luke wouldn't have done those things.
And obviously we have hundreds of books and comics and everything you could possibly imagine. So, I sort of move that treasure trove of stories and various things to Kathy, and have complete confidence that she's going to take them and make great movies.
There's a lot better things that you could have done. There's a lot there's a lot better things you could have done, wouldn't you say? Maybe have Luke skirt closer to the dark side because he doesn't fully understand the consequences in between episode 4 and 5, when or I'm sorry, episode 5 and 6. You know, he doesn't yet know that Leia's his sister. There could have been a flashback here. Maybe he could have crossed paths with Mara Jade, or something like some of the scenes in Choices of One, where Mara Jade is doing something over here for the Emperor, and Luke is over here very close by doing something for the rebellion, and their actions cross each other's paths, but they don't physically cross paths. That's kind of interesting. They could do that with other characters too that you want to introduce here and kind of come back later, have flashbacks that are maybe not just from this time, but from times in between the 30 and 40-year gap, to explain, to show villains, to explain some of the motives, maybe to show where, like, what Lando was doing, maybe to have an adventure in that time. You know, if you could spend the money with the CGI to keep the people looking young for multiple scenes, like they did in the episode 9 with Luke and Leia, had them looking young for 2 minutes. You know, depending on how long you could do that, you could really play with things. Like I said earlier, Han Solo was in carbonite at this point after Empire Strikes Back. So you wouldn't even really need Han Solo or Harrison Ford's either likeness or any work with CGI, because he just flat out wouldn't be there unless you somehow saw the carbonite chamber, in which case it could just be a prop. But you could have other various people. It looks like one of the droids standing next to Luke in this image here, this fan art image, could be almost like the Ralph McQuarrie C-3PO original drawing. That's what that kind of looks like. And then the bounty hunter looks something like that. I'm trying to think of the name from episode 9. I didn't even see the full episode 9, but not Kira, because that was Kira was supposed to be the name that George Lucas didn't have Jason and Jaina. He had someone named Kira, and I think he had the antagonist was the Jedi killer. So it was a looser, from what I know, was kind of a looser skeleton of an idea than like what was actually in the expanded universe books, which is a fully formed Star Wars world with a history and a present and a future. Melissa's World says Jedi Reading Club. That's for sure. This picture is from if you look up cyberpunk Luke, this comes up. I think it's Pinterest. So this is fan art. Let me see if I can pull up the original page here. Share the original page. I originally saw this on Instagram. One of my friends, Geronimo Gomez. Okay, I follow this guy on Instagram. He is fantastic. So this is called The Dark Jedi and Renegade Princess, depicting Luke Skywalker along with R2-D2 and C-3PO with a lovely cyberpunk Blade Runner twist. And then let's read what Geronimo's vision was. Here's my 2D submission for the Reimagining Star Wars CG Plus Challenge. Decided to mix my two favorite movie franchises, Blade Runner and Star Wars. I used a bunch of different techniques. A lot of them I learned from Macy Kusiara's Learn Squared class. I still see a bunch of things I can be nitpicky about, but I had to get this thing done. So yeah, like if you look at Luke's fingertips here, this, I believe, pays homage to the idea in one of the comic books, in one of the 80s comic books, where there was what was it called? It had some of the coolest Luke art because it had Luke turning dark side, and it also took place in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. It was kind of like a what if. And what was it called? Like Rise of the Empire. I'm not sure what it was called, but I have some art books that depict the art from it, and I also have the original, but it's been years since I've read it. But it has Luke dressed up kind of like Vader with that tufted leather type of stuff, that type of black leather as an outfit. He has a cape and everything, and he's working for the Emperor basically, and he's trying to infiltrate the Empire by working for the Emperor, and he learns how to shoot force lightning and things like that. So this picture by Geronimo Gomez is kind of showing that Luke has just shocked somebody, and his fingertips are alight with the after blaze of the shock. And I feel like that pays homage to I think it was called Rise of the Empire, but I can't recall. Maybe somebody here knows what it was called. It's got some great Luke art. This here is, like Geronimo Gomez says, is inspired by Blade Runner. So you have Luke in this kind of overcoat, but I think this fits right in to Star Wars. That fits right into what Luke may have worn. I mean, don't forget, these people were renegades. They were on the run for years, so there was many disguises. So even if you see something that you're like, oh, that maybe doesn't look like Luke would wear it, but maybe Luke wore it as a disguise. That's what I see sometimes. It's like, and sometimes when things are totally badass like they were in 1983, you got maybe R2 taking on some clandestine roles. Maybe he's like one of the best secret weapons they got. He might have rolled himself into some kind of Empire base and hacked into a computer or something like that. So Melissa's World says, where's Coruscant? In my head, I wish to be in Coruscant. Yeah, me too. I think this picture, like this cyberpunk type of Luke image, I always imagined that this type of thing was, if you played the game Knights of the Old Republic, you will have been to Nar Shaddaa. So Nar Shaddaa kind of looked like that in the background, but I think it could also be Coruscant. This could be like the lower levels of Coruscant. You remember when Anakin tumbled down in Coruscant, and he had to find what was her name, Zam Wessel. He was trying to find Zam Wessel, and he came across lots of shady characters down there. Even Obi-Wan's trying to get people to stop doing drugs down there. Let's see here. I'm talking about Melissa's vision, which is 2200 with tunnel vision. Yeah, I watched Melissa's World's video, her video on her condition, and I saw the photos of you when you were younger, Melissa, and saw that, yeah, I think you said your right eye is I thought you said your right eye was totally blind, but now you say your left eye is totally blind. I thought it was the right eye. Yeah, she's got a whole video about it. If you want to check out Melissa's World's channel, she talks about Star Wars stuff. She talks about different aspects of being blind, being legally blind. Mike Hendershett says, I think the VR package for PlayStation about $400. Whoa, that's the price of a PlayStation itself. You know what happened to my PlayStation 2? My PlayStation 4 is just the other day I tried to play Grand Theft Auto via the disc, and it wouldn't play the disc. I'm thinking maybe the Blu-ray thing is shot, because when I put a DVD in, it played the DVD, but it won't play the disc, the game disc. So if I were to buy a new PlayStation, it's going to be $400, and then you need the $400 for the VR. That's a lot. That's a lot. Especially with another new system coming out. I think next year. Is it at the end of this year or next year? Probably next year. I'm trying to get some play out of my PlayStation 4. All the games that I haven't finished yet. I want to finish Jedi Fallen Order. That was a lot of fun. Yeah, Zach Pennington's got it right. Said, I'm glad you're able to deal and cope. Most importantly, enjoy Star Wars. For sure. If you can listen to some of those audiobooks with all the effects and stuff, it's like you're fully immersed. It really is. It's sometimes I think it's better than the movies because it's like your own imagination depicting it, especially if it's like characters that you can like readily call to mind and imagine. People like, you know, any of these Legends books with like Han, Luke, and Leia, and you could really understand them because you've heard their voice before. You could probably you know, hear them speak in your mind, and you know their personality. So then when you get to the book and you know when the book is taking place, it's very, very cool. It's very, very cool. Nothing can stop us nerds. Nothing can stop us nerds. Not even subpar movies can stop us. We'll still be there. We'll still be looking for what's worthwhile in there. You know, there's always something. There's always something in there that you can get to that's worthwhile. Like, where is this other thing that came out? Oh yeah. You know, there's always whether it be a video game or a book that could inspire you with like your saber stuff. Let me see if I can show you this email from Corbanth. Corbanth has some new stuff coming that look cool. There's a Satil Sean. Where did it go? Satil. Oh, I don't see it on the list. Maybe because it's not out yet. Corbanth is coming out with a Satil. Let me see if it's under NeoPixel installed. No, these all say sold out. These all say sold out. They have a Fallen Order hilt. Now everything says sold out. It's not even worth showing you. But there was one thing I wanted to show you though about the KR. This was like, I was gonna tell Cal about this. This was a problem. I felt like that's not the right button. Where is it? The Saber Armory. Okay, this is, I have a bone to pick with Cal about this. You see this? The store is temporarily closed. This is the Saber Armory where Cal sells the strips. Thanks for stopping by. We're currently on vacation. It's been a hectic year and we need a short break. Please don't worry. Oh, okay, that's all great. But let me see if it's under here. Is it under here? See, my complaint is like, where is the, okay, well, I don't know if his, all right, I don't know. I don't know if that's it. But my complaint is that's all great. I hope your vacation's awesome, Cal. But what about people that want to see the data sheet for your NeoPixel blade? Hello, we can't get into the store, so we can't see the data stuff on the blade. Like right next to the blade, he had some information about the blade. So I ended up, just tracking down the YouTube video and figuring out that you needed, 268 as your, because I was like counting the LEDs and I'm like, come on, there's got to be a better way. But Cal's store is it kind of closed you out from even looking at the product. So that's my bone to pick with Cal. Do not close people out of just looking at the product. We just want to look. We just want to window shop. I mean, open up the store for window shopping. Nobody has to buy. We want to see the specs on some of the products. No? Am I right or wrong? Am I right or am I right or am I right? Yeah. Oh, thank you, the blade tester. Thank you, Excelsior Sabers. Yeah, I've used my Prism blade tester for years, and decided to make this new one. Actually, I never even tried to like swing this around like a Profi. Oh yeah, it has smooth swing. This box has smooth swing. The reason why I thought it was another good idea was because I felt like I would also maybe have, like, let's say Gabe or Harris over helping me like make a blade or make a couple blades one time. I mean, we haven't gotten to this point yet, but I hope to get to the point where I need 2 blade testers. So I could use one and like Gabe can use another. I mean, we're not at that point yet to like all be building blades at the same time. It's still basically just me, but they're starting to help. Gabe and Harris are helping. So, you know, eventually maybe we'll need 2 blade testers. So that'll be cool. Melissa's World says about the force feedback. I have it on my phone. When TalkBack is on, it activates Explore by Touch, which also enables force feedback. Yeah, I wonder if it's like, if it manipulates the force feedback or if it's kind of just on off, because that's how the Saber kind of seems to be. It's like on, it's like vibe on, vibe off, not necessarily like intense vibe, less intense, lesser still. You know what I mean? Like depending like how you swing the Saber, I would have liked it to be like, you know, more intense, less intense, like that type of vibration. But maybe it's not, maybe I bought the wrong motor as far as like, maybe you need like a stepped, like a motor with steps, almost like like an LED has a range. I just hit the mic. Like an LED has a range. I wonder if I needed to get a different vibe motor to have a range or something like that. I'm not sure. It just doesn't, I don't feel it to me as if it's like intensifying and then getting less when I kind of hold it steady, and maybe when I swing it, does it intensify? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it does. Okay, so wherever I move my finger, are you just saying that, or are you just saying that, or does it really do that on your phone? Yeah, that Cal's blade is super, super bright. Yeah, I'm going to have light sensitivity too if I keep staring at those blades. That's for sure. You've been buying Star Wars Legends a little here and there. Yeah, there is some weird diseases in the Star Wars books. Like if you get to the books with the New Jedi Order, where they come across the Yuzong Vong, which are just awful alien creatures that attack, you know, regular galaxy people, attack planets even. They have like terraforming, which is kind of like a disease for Star Wars planets. Like they infest a Star Wars planet, and eventually it turns into like their living planets. And their living planets are kind of cool actually, because they could travel through hyperspace and stuff like that, and they're powerful weapons. They kind of turn everything into like a weapon, but they have a bunch of weird diseases too. And it's like they infect people with these like, it kind of reminds me of Serpentor. Remember Serpentor from the G.I. Joe movie? He would throw his like snake spear into people and it would poison them. The Yuzong Vong have like spears like that like become rigid, and they can fight with them, and they use them as their main weapon. Dark Empire. What did I say? Rise of the Empire? Okay. Jim Smith says Dark Empire. That's what I was talking about before. You know what? I'm going to look up the Dark Empire Luke, because that was the best Luke. That was the best like comic book Luke. Dark Empire Luke. Yes, this is the images I was talking about. Like, they have this. Oh, they even have toys. I didn't know they had toys of Dark Luke. Yeah, but this is bad. This actually reminds me of The Last Jedi, though. It doesn't make me happy. Like, look at this image reminds me of The Last Jedi. It looks like Luke is severely depressed, and it actually looks like Mark Hamill too. This actually looks like a depressed Mark Hamill. (1991) comic book. Let's see. That's not the artwork I was thinking of. This is. I'll show you the artwork I was thinking of. Oh, this is fantastic. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Show you Dark Luke. This is the sweetest like Luke outfit, ain't it? With that Darth Vader style cut to the cowl. Obviously, it doesn't have too many electronics to cover or anything like that. Just the robot hand, right? But it's that time of Empire Strikes Back. He's got the green saber, and he's got that leather outfit like Darth Vader had. Remember that like sweet tufted pants that he had and pieces on his arm, those gauntlets? Yeah, Luke is dark side clothed. Like that's kind of why I thought that this is the way you dress if you went to dark side. You'd have leather pants, you'd have leather shirt, it would be tufted, it would look like you were a couch from Restoration Hardware with a cape. Kylo's outfit was more like rags. Why was he so cheap? Like why was his whole getup so emo and so goth? Like, that wasn't that cool, you know what I mean? Like that ribbed clothing that Kylo Ren had on, that was more like rags that you'd see on like a homeless person. That wasn't really the coolest thing in the world, was it? Was it to any of you guys? You know, I got a poster. Like, I'm about to display some blades I made for Steve. They're Kylo Ren TriStar blades, and you know, he's got the side Quylons, they're TriStars, and he's got the main blade, which is a TriStar. And I'm actually going to depict it on this poster that I have a Kylo Ren, because I'm going to make the video on the poster. I actually don't have a Kylo Ren saber, so I can't show you the entire 3 blades lit up at once, but I'll just show you one at a time, and I'll use kind of the poster as a background for that video. And I was studying this poster. I'll show you in the video in like a day or two, but it's like he's wearing rags. Like, Kylo's outfit is rags, you know. Even Rey's outfit was white rags. It was like Kylo was wearing dark colored rags, and Rey is wearing light colored rags. It's very unimaginative. No, Melissa says her left eye is totally blind. Sorry for the confusion. Well, you don't have to be sorry for my confusion. It's I don't have to deal with that, but I'm sorry that you have to deal with that, Melissa. That sucks. That really sucks. Yeah, she says, let me see here. Left, totally blind. Right, 20/200 with tunnel vision. That's rough. That's rough. 2200, and that's tunnel vision. That's only seeing a very small spot. And I know that Melissa has to squint, and it's painful to look at stuff like that for any length of time, because that's not comfortable to strain like that. Oh, Jim Smith gave me a link. Can I click on that link right there? I think. For some reason, I can't click on that link. I think it has to be like in private chat for me to click on that. Yeah, the games thing, Melissa, that would be kind of hard if games are just like kind of all about the vision. And they kind of, even people with good vision, they strain your vision. These games are so fast paced, and it's like they even have like a seizure warning, right? Because they're like crazy flashing lights. I'm sure Cal will be happy to fix it. You get that website back up and running, Cal. We need to see those specs. But I guess maybe people know where they're at. He'd probably be like, well, the specs are on the Rebel Armory or something like that. Well, I don't know. I was trying to look on the website for the specs. That's where I went. Because that's where I thought I saw it when I bought it, but then I couldn't even confirm. Oh, that's cool. Vibe on wherever I touch the screen. Really? Really? What type of phone do you have? Oh, whenever you touch the screen. Oh, okay. So not wherever. Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say that'd be pretty impossible. You need like more vibe motors. Laser goggle. Laser goggles. Serpentor. Yeah, Serpentor is the G.I. Joe. Cobra. La 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 la. What's this? Well, she's a Jakku Viziane. What's that? Jakku. She's from Jakku. Raised from Jakku. Oh, the whole film is rags. Yeah, they're not just wearing rags. In The Force Awakens, right? They're not just wearing rags, but in the Last Jedi, they weren't. He wasn't even wearing a shirt. He didn't even have his shirt on in The Last Jedi. I don't know what that was about. Unimaginative. TK Boomer Fun William J. Thanks for being here. Says unimaginative due to Disney, probably most likely. Yeah, they would stomp out any imagination as soon as it showed up at the front door, I think. And that was the problem. Anything that was like worthwhile or like the script, like the George Lucas script that they tossed in the trash, anything that was creative, imaginative, and worthwhile probably got stopped at the trash bin by somebody. Having only one eye strain is inevitable. The right eye is under a lot of pressure. Ooh, that sucks. That's rough. That is rough. Yeah, I mean, YouTube must be a cool place to be, Melissa, because you could, you could check out a lot of podcasts, and you don't really need to see. A lot of times, even the podcasts that I'm watching, a lot of the times doesn't, they'll have their camera turned off and they'll just kind of be talking. It's kind of like a radio show a lot of the time. A lot of the shows that I watch, so that's one saving grace. YouTube, you can get a lot of content. Get a lot of content that's vocal. Yeah, the eye strain from working hard. Even having healthy eyes, they're delicate. I heard of some tricks when you have healthy eyes, like you are working, let's say something close up, and then you can stop and, like, let's say look out a window and focus on like a tree that's far away. And these are just little things that healthy people with healthy eyes can do to try to mitigate the eye strain. You know, not looking at things that are supposed to be flat at an angle for too long. I know that from like drafting tables and things like that, that could cause an issue. But to already have eye problems and then trying to mitigate those problems, that's pretty rough. That's pretty rough because, like I said, even a healthy person is a delicate weakness is the eyes, you know. Oh, you've got an Android Kyocera. I haven't tried an Android phone yet. I've been pretty much stuck with Apple ever since I went to the like a smartphone a few years back, you know, and whatever it was. I went to Apple iPhone, and then since it connects to my computers, my Apple computers and things, and my iPad, you know, you could kind of answer a text or something from your iPad. It seems kind of convenient, even though I know they got a lot of cool products and stuff out there. New phones, like my friend just got a, what is it? The Google type phone. Kyocera. You know what, Jim? I knew that because I used to work at a cell phone store, but I guess it's been 15 years and I forgot, but I used to know that. I swear. Kyocera. I used to know that because I worked at the store, I swear. But that's what happens. That's what happens when too many years go by. But Jim never forgets. Jim doesn't forget that type of stuff. He remembers that type of stuff. All right, let me show you for any lightsaber fans still left here. Let's go to what happened here? Let's go to this cam because I want to show you a book. We have enough light here to check out this book. I think Harris gave me this book, if I'm not mistaken. I forgot where I got this book. Someone gave this to me as a gift, though. I think is what it was. It might have been Harris that gave this to me. Might have been my friend at work. But I thought this was kind of cool. Looked like it was a few years old, like maybe maybe around the time when the prequels came out. Because it's got all the prequel movies in it, but just doesn't have any of the sequel trilogies. So it's just all about lightsabers. And it's got some cool pullouts. So let's just take a look at this. An elegant weapon. With the press of a button, the cylinder-shaped metal hilt releases brilliant shaft of energy in a sizzling snap hiss. Stopping about a meter away from the dish-like emitter, the humming beam of energy appears as a solid, bright core of light, radiating a haze of color. No shit. It definitely does. No weapon is more instantly recognizable as a symbol of the Jedi Order than the lightsaber. For over 1,000 generations, Jedi Knights have carried these elegant energy blades in their quest to protect peace and justice in the Galactic Republic. The Sith, a dark offshoot of the Jedi, also wield lightsabers. However, in the hands of a Sith, a lightsaber is used for attack, domination, and execution rather than for defense. Only a Jedi Knight can wield a lightsaber to its full potential. Well, that's a dubious claim, probably written by a Jedi, right? Only a Jedi Knight can wield the lightsaber to its... No. A Sith, no. Come on. Palpatine. Don't you guys think Palpatine could have... he was wielding a lightsaber to its potential. And there, other people like Darth Bane, Lord Scourge. They were wielding a lightsaber. I don't know. I don't know about that only being a Jedi stuff. A brief history. Over 25,000 years ago, at the start of the Galactic Republic, the Jedi Order began as a group of Force users in the world of Tython. See, they're going by this original idea that came out probably about 8 or 10 years ago in the Legends comic book series about Cade Skywalker. Was it? No, it was right before. It was right before they did the Cade Skywalker series, I think. Now I'm forgetting that name too. Probably Jim remembers, but there was a they had a comic about the original Jedi back on Tython. They carried metal blades honed through the Force to have supernatural strength and sharpness. In time, early Jedi applied off-world technology and replaced their physical blades with ones made of energy, creating the first true lightsabers. The lightsaber has changed little since it was created, but the Jedi Order has grown and groups have split from the Order. With these new groups, variations on Jedi design evolved. These can be found all over the galaxy. So this book is pretty sweet because it has, these cutouts, and it's going to kind of go over like the different lightsabers. Basically, we've got a focusing crystal, a primary crystal, a superconductor, an energy lens, a blade emitter, and a diatom energy cell, or some kind of energy cell. Different crystals. Building a lightsaber. Some of this is from the, or at least it was featured in the KOTOR games. I remember the Bondar crystal. Create a dull blade so it has a stunning sting rather than a lethal edge. Akasha crystal, which come from Serene, are said to aid in meditation and Force attunement. A Solari crystal will widen the width of the blade, making blaster deflection easier. And a Kathrasite produces a weaker blade. That might be for Padawans. Tuning a lightsaber is an extension of a Jedi's Force awareness. Because Jedi let the Force guide their selection of the crystal, the vibration the crystal creates in the lightsaber blade helps Jedi center themselves and find balance in the Force. In this way, a Jedi can center his or her attention beyond the distractions of combat. And there are exotic lightsabers like Shoto, a short blade, a guard Shoto, which is attached to a regular lightsaber hilt at a 90-degree angle, allowing the blade to be held parallel to the forearm and spin in complex form of defense and attack. Dual phase lightsabers contain multiple crystals or light whips. I wonder if they show a light whip in here. Well, I like how they show Anakin's broken lightsaber. Yeah, this is probably a reason why it sucks to like lose your lightsaber, because it says here, a Jedi's connection to his or her lightsaber is a powerful bond, but not one of emotional attachment. It takes a lifetime for Jedi to achieve true mastery of their handcrafted weapons. So it takes a lifetime for a Jedi to achieve true mastery of their hand. Well, okay, so all right, so it could just mean multiple lightsabers. And I was thinking of if it would take you an entire lifetime to get used to one of your lightsabers, and then if you lost your lightsaber, like what happened to Anakin, that would suck, because then you have to start all over again learning the new hilt. But I think they mean, getting used to lightsaber itself, no matter which hilt you have. Lightsabers have few moving parts, which makes them quite rugged. They can operate in frigid temperatures of space or in scorching heat of a fiery world like Mustafar. Nonetheless, the components of a lightsaber can be susceptible to the elements, and Jedi must take special care of his or her weapon. There are a few rules Jedi would do well to remember. So this is almost like, I think a few years after this, they came out with that other book, that the Jedi Path, which had some of this stuff in it, where the book kind of rose up out of the container. Okay, so it says, a Jedi who loses a lightsaber often builds another in times of great need, such as the emergency of the Clone Wars. The Order keeps replacement lightsabers ready for Jedi to use while they build a new one. So it's almost like Obi-Wan was acting as the hermit on Tatooine. He was acting as the entire Jedi Order, really, because he was acting as the teacher. He was acting as the student selector. He went out and, found the student, and he also presented the student with his lightsaber. All the jobs of the Jedi Temple in the Old Republic. Obi-Wan had to do all of that. A myth. Only a Jedi or a Sith can wield a lightsaber. Fact is, anyone can conceivably pick up a lightsaber and use it, but sabers are extremely difficult to wield. Those used to swinging solid swords often find using weightless blades a challenge, one that can have dangerous consequences. Only through rigorous training and enhanced senses through the Force can a Jedi use its lightsaber to its full potential. We feature Obi-Wan's lightsaber from Phantom Menace. Oh, it actually tells you, you know, how long it is. It's 11 inches long. They're saying it's 2 inches wide. I'm not sure about that. 2 inches wide, is it really? That was a thin one. What does it say for this one? Yeah, hilt width for Qui-Gon is 1.5. See, this book is off because this Phantom Menace lightsaber for Obi-Wan was actually pretty petite. At least as petite as the Qui-Gon. But it's actually, if you look at the orbital machining version, which is very true, must be made to the master replicas LE, and they have the correct dimensions. I'm not so sure this book is totally spot on with the dimensions here. Yeah, because look, it's talking about Yoda's hilt being 1 inch in width. No, like I think Yoda's hilt, I mean, maybe I don't know. I'd have to look at that Frog's Apprentice. I know he's got the size right. But 1.13 inches wide, that doesn't seem very... Oh yeah, here's one of the foldouts. So it shows you like entire Darth Maul hilt. All right, well this is pretty accurate. 1.75 width. Okay. Functioning as a saber staff, Darth Maul's weapon consists of 2 lightsabers fused together so the blades extend in a single line. Each blade can be ignited separately depending on the situation and the opponent being faced. That's carrying quite a big weapon. Darth Maul had to carry quite a long weapon. Mace Windu's lightsaber. You know what? I think it's like they're measuring the toy. It's like they're measuring the toy. They're saying Mace Windu's saber is 2.5 inches wide. Come on, the widths are all off in this book. Mace Windu's saber is also very petite. Yeah, the toy was off. Your toy was gigantic, 11 inches long and 2.5 inches wide for sure, but not Mace Windu's actual lightsaber. Come on. It says Mace Windu carried several lightsabers in his long career, but this last one was the most remarkable. Legends say the focusing gem was harvested from a remote world inhabited by living crystal aliens. The midsection unscrews to allow easy access to the control crystal chamber. Windu used this lightsaber to dispatch Jango Fett, creating an enemy in his son, young Boba Fett. That's a nice, sweet blade color. Blue-white. Ki-Adi-Mundi. As a species, Syrians prefer low-tech culture. Though Ki-Adi-Mundi was comfortable with modern technology, he still admired the simpler Syrian ways. He purposely designed his lightsaber hilt without frills or accents. During his meditation, Ki-Adi-Mundi's dual or binary brain bonded with 2 crystals. Thus, his lightsaber carries both. I did not know that. I did not know that it is 2 brains bonded with 2 crystals. That's cool. This was one of the first hilts I ever made. Well, I mean, I didn't make the hilt, but I installed into, I think it was like a Saber Forge, or it was a maker on eBay. I bought, it looked exactly like this. This is like the toy that I had, the hilt. This was exactly it. Yeah, and I made it with what was in there? What did I put in there? Oh, I think I put a blue Makoto system in there. That was cool. That was like 10 years ago. I've never had one of these in my hand though. This is nice. The Plo Koon, which actually, if you look for if you're looking for a Plo Koon lightsaber, JQ, I believe has like the best Plo Koon that I have seen. I haven't held it in my hands, but I've seen. I know JQ and their sabers are epic, and their photos for their Plo Koon is incredible. I wanted one of those for a while. I like how it looks like Ki-Adi-Mundi's hilt, but it does have this like more like Luminara Unduli style emitter. Oh, this is interesting. The notes here say, using historical texts found within the Jedi archives, Plo Koon, along with several fellow Jedi Knights, designed this hilt to resemble the lightsaber carried by Lacunas Subartunk, one of the most vigilant Jedi of the Ancient Order. In future generations, this design would inspire the more modern Sentinel lightsaber hilt in the Jedi Order founded by Luke Skywalker. So this lightsaber design kind of became more of a standardized lightsaber design, which many different Jedi either carried or they were handed this lightsaber in the time of need. It's Kit Fisto. Look at this goofy ass picture of Kit Fisto. That's pretty funny. He looks a bit goofy there, but that's a cool alien design. I mean, Kit Fisto was cool. Yeah, is that like the same type of thing as Plo Koon? Oh, just a different bottom, a different hilt, or a different pommel. Oh, and of course Count Dooku's lightsaber. Notes, this notable design departs from Jedi tradition, but the curved hilt perfectly suited the classic form of lightsaber combat Count Dooku perfected. He replaced his original blue Adigan crystal with a synthetic red Sith gem when he took the title Darth Tyrannus. Though Dooku turned his back on the Jedi traditions, he still greeted his opponents with the customary salute of a Jedi when engaging in duels. I built one of these for my friend a few months. When was that? That was probably maybe 2 years ago. But this was a fun lightsaber to do. That was a tough one. 89, I think it was Ultimate Works or an 89 Sabers. Training lightsabers. Oh, look at that POS. Wouldn't you love to find this though in a junk pile and have it work? I always imagined when I was a kid, I always thought to myself, what if I found a shoebox and it had a lightsaber in it and the lightsaber worked? What would I have done? What would I have done? I always thought I would kind of hurt myself. Oh, but it says here, the Jedi initiates, students who have yet to be paired into Padawan master relationships, begin training with lightsabers at a very young age. 3 or 4 years old. For humans, training lightsabers emit low-intensity blades that cannot cut and are not lethal. Contact with training blade will only sting or numb an opponent. However, these blades do convey an accurate sensation of holding a real lightsaber. So that's like our lightsabers that we've got, you know? We've got them. We got ones that do that. You know, it doesn't cut. It doesn't cut, but it's like the next best thing, I think. Next best thing we got. Oh yeah, here's Luminara Undulis. A serious-minded Jedi Master. Okay. Luminara studied many Jedi traditions and found inspiration in molding her lightsaber after that of one of the greatest Jedi warriors. Luminara's Marillion heritage made her incredibly agile and flexible, qualities she used to the fullest when engaging in lightsaber combat. Oh yeah, here we go. Here we go.
I killed them all. They're dead. And not just the men, but the women.
This looks about true
And the children, too.
to what it is as far as the size.
And I slaughtered them like animals. I hate them. What did you say?
Oh, these look cool. These are Grievous's sabers. Let's see whose sabers he's got. I was looking at this before. Notes: generally, someone incapable of using the Force would find wielding a lightsaber difficult. However, the advanced technology built into Grievous's mechanical body gave him supernaturally fast reflexes and coordination. He could also split his two arms into four, letting him wield 4 lightsabers at a time. While Grievous kept a grim trophy room in his hidden lair and carried many stolen lightsabers in the lining of his cape, these 4 lightsabers were his greatest prizes. So he's got Pablo Jill's hilt. He's got Adi Galia's hilt. He's got Shakti's hilt. He's got Rowan Karab's hilt. Some Ithorian. Yeah, there was a Shakti scene that was deleted from Revenge of the Sith. As the last line of defense for Chancellor Palpatine in a final battle of the Clone Wars, Grievous ensnared Shakti with electrified cables, which knocked her unconscious and allowed Grievous to steal her lightsaber. Oh, Grievous cut through the Jedi Karab, this Ithorian over here, when he stormed the Republic capital. Let's see what else we got. Uh-oh. Ali Sakura's lightsaber, also kind of a bland, traditional style hilt. Kind of like what we call in the saber world, we kind of call this type of lightsaber an arena hilt, which means that, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan got it from somebody in the arena, like one of those lightsabers that was tossed to them. You know, like this right here was like an arena hilt. It's like this guy rolled up and threw. Oh, this guy's a Zabrak? I never realized that. I never realized this guy was a Zabrak. Species from Iridonia tend to be warlike people with an aggressive culture. And through decades of Jedi training turned Eoth Koth into a serene Jedi Master. He designed his lightsaber hilt for assertive combat. Eoth Koth on occasion entered into the Concordance of Fealty, an ancient Jedi tradition in which Jedi Masters swap lightsabers for an extended period to more fully understand the ways in which Jedi were bonded to their weapons. It's called a Concordance of Fealty. We could do that in the saber world, couldn't we? We could switch lightsabers for a while. Concordance of Fealty. I need to remember that one. That's interesting. Mark that. We might use that at some point. We'll do like a saber swap. We'll call it the COF, the Concordance of Fealty. It's another hilt that looks kind of like an arena hilt. Aegon Kolar, another Another Iridonian? Oh, wow. A lot more Iridonians than I thought. You know, this looks like a piece of garbage. That doesn't really... our custom sabers look a lot... Like, this prop looks like ass. Obi-Wan's lightsaber from episode 3 and eventually episode 4. Thin neck, copper thin neck, grenade section. Obi-Wan Kenobi constructed this lightsaber after his promotion to the rank of Jedi Master at the start of the Clone Wars, replacing a model design that he had used since he was a Padawan. This lightsaber was also the model from which Luke Skywalker constructed and designed his lightsaber. The gleaming metal alloy would eventually become tarnished from almost 2 decades of disuse amidst the wastes of Tatooine. Yeah, for sure. This looked pretty rough once we got to A New Hope. That's for sure. The Darth Sidious lightsaber. Iridium cap with frick alloy casing. Frick. Frick and frack. Darth Sidious actually constructed at least 2 of these short-handled weapons. He kept one hidden within an neuranium sculpture in his executive office and another tucked in his sleeve. Yeah, I remember some of the books actually touched on, or maybe it was the Revenge of the Sith novelization actually touched on the fact that Darth Sidious did house another lightsaber in a statue in his office. And then Anakin and Luke's lightsaber. This is depicting Anakin's lightsaber. You could tell by the gold side button and the gold circuit card and the chromed nature of the hilt. Anakin Skywalker created this lightsaber following the outbreak of the Clone Wars, but Obi-Wan Kenobi took the lightsaber after their battle on Mustafar. Obi-Wan kept the lightsaber while he was in hiding, and a generation later gave it to Luke Skywalker. Luke felt an instant attachment to the lightsaber. The construction of the lightsaber and its crystals connected to him as it had to his father, Anakin. Oh yeah, that blue blade is sweet. And Darth Vader's lightsaber looks similar to that, just more machine-like, more black parts. And then Luke's lightsaber is like Obi-Wan's. Oh, this is a sweet image right here. That's pretty cool. Deflecting bolt. First image. Famous kick on the skiff barge. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, lightsaber techniques. Deflecting blaster fire. Cutting through obstacles. Myth, a Jedi lightsaber can cut through anything. Fact, there are some materials that can withstand lightsaber contact. Frick, a metal mind on Gromus Moon cannot be cut by a lightsaber. Mandalorian iron, known as Beskar, is also nearly indestructible. Some variations or some varieties of the metal cortosis have been known to deactivate a lightsaber on contact. Thankfully for the Jedi, such exotic metals are too rare or costly to be widely used. Yeah, Sidious had some on his person, but going through the forums here. You guys probably know about all the forms. Julia, the 7th form, also known as Vapad. What do we got here? Oh, target zone. I guess they're teaching you how to kill people. Notable lightsaber duels. Yes, we saw these movies. Notable lightsaber duels. Darth Sidious versus the Jedi Masters. It didn't last very long. And the circle is complete. That's a pretty cool book. It's like the only book in this format that I like this long format. Usually, like, I have to make books like this for work usually, that are like this size. I don't like this size book, but I like this book obviously because it's about lightsabers, and it's, you know, probably aimed at like younger people. It's got a lot of redundant stuff from the movies, but it's a cool reference if you like lightsabers. That seems like a book that probably came out about 10 years ago. Okay, let's see here. All right, I think I'm about done with what I wanted to talk about tonight, but I just wanted to say hi to you guys, talk some Star Wars. You know, we hadn't done anything like this in a while, and I've just been so busy, like working on sabers and stuff. But tonight, I thought we would, you know, get together, talk a little Star Wars, see where things were at, talk to you guys about this book. See if you could read this book over the next couple weeks. In a week or two, we'll do a talk, and I'm gonna come on. I'm gonna read some passages from just like a page here and a page there because they relate to the characters that I think it. And the passages I'm gonna read aren't even gonna give anything away, really. But I just think some of the writing is really connected to these characters. These are really cool people that we've followed for 40 years. So when you see them in this in these different situations, you know, that we haven't seen them in before from the movies, but they're the characters from the movies truly. It's pretty neat. We get to see that development in between the movies. Like there's some goofy stuff that Luke does, but when you think about like who Luke was at that moment, you know, he was a kid still. So he was like not the Jedi, you know, warrior that we see in Return of the Jedi kicking ass. He was still a kid, and he didn't even really know how to use the lightsaber. So they show that a bit. And Mara Jade is like, I wouldn't say she's a master at the lightsaber because I've read all the books that take place when these people are adults, like when Luke and Mara are married and all that. And there's a lot of training that has to happen. You know, Mara is at a certain place when the Emperor gets killed, and she has a long way to go because the Emperor holds people back. You know, he holds Darth Vader back, and he's holding, maybe he doesn't hold Darth Vader back because he does want Darth Vader to take over, but that's an exception because that's the Sith Lord. But everybody else that he's dealing with, the Emperor holds back. He doesn't teach, you know, all his tricks to. And the same thing goes for Mara Jade. Like he gives Mara Jade what she needs to know and tricks to help her survive and lightsaber combat techniques, but she's not a master of the lightsaber. This book, though, you do get to see many instances of lightsabers coming into play, threatening people, used in combat. So for people like us that love lightsabers, it's a good book to check out, as well as I think the whole new Jedi Order series and every book beyond. You know, there is actually a lot of really good a lot of really good Star Wars books, come to think of it. So you can kind of just explore and see what suits, what, you know, tickles your fancy, what suits you. Let's see if I missed anything here. Oh, Jim Smith knows what, because Melissa asks, may I ask what species is Master Fisto? And I don't even have to look it up because Jim Smith says Natolian. Let's see. Is that what it said here for Kit Fisto? Being from an aquatic species native to the waters of Glee Anselm, Kit Fisto modified his lightsaber so the beam could energize even when fully submerged in water. To activate this, he used two crystals charged by an ignition pulse that is split into two currents. Fisto's customized modification proved popular among the Order. especially during the Clone Wars when action brought Jedi to such watery planets as Kamino. So it doesn't say here, but I'm sure Jim is right. Jim is rarely wrong about anything, really. It doesn't even have to be Star Wars. Oh, did they have Pez? Did they have lightsaber Pez dispensers? TK Boomer Fun? Did they have the the Pez dispensers? I don't remember those. But you know what? I didn't become a huge Star Wars fan until I was about 16, 17. That's when I really, really got into it. Okay, if Jim Smith says the Yoda's is 1.18, then the book was right on that one. I just think some of the ones that they said it was like 2 or 2.5. No, like some of the toys were 2.5 inches thick, but that's not what they were in the movies. You know. The ones that people who make lightsabers go to measure are called the Master Replicas LE edition, which I guess is the one. It doesn't have any electronics or anything. It's like a solid metal piece, but it's supposed to be accurate to the movie. Oh, Jim Smith says I used to have this booklet. I forgot who gave me this. Maybe it was Harris. I'm thinking it was Harris. Let's see. Okay, I think I'm caught up. Imagine a small saber used in surgery. Come to think of it, in our galaxy, tiny saber like lasers are used in surgery. Yeah. I see some of these billboards that say minimally invasive, surgery with lasers or something for whatever people need, like knee surgery, sometimes cancer surgery. They have, like a little mini lightsaber. I think they do have it. Yeah, Yoda's Shoto, it's tiny in a normal human hand. Yeah, like there was a saber maker called Lethal Frog, I think was his name. I think I'm crossing certain names. The lightsaber's name was the Frog's Apprentice. It's a Yoda replica, and it's very, very nice and accurate and well made. And I think the name of the person that made it was Lethal Frog, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure it was called the Frog's Apprentice. If anyone wants to look up, basically the best installable Yoda lightsaber, which you would actually utilize the 3/4 inch blade, which is the only lightsaber. I think the only one I'm ever been aware of that you use a 3/4 blade. I think actually my friend Revan Reborn brought over a lightsaber once that used a 3/4 blade, but the only one that I'm really sure of is the Frog's Apprentice. Yeah, the Tusken Slayer is awesome. That was the one that I have here. Tusken Slayer, Melissa, that just means, Anakin killed the Tusken Raiders. So one nickname, I guess you could say he may have had, if he had a nickname, would have been the Tusken Slayer, or the saber could have been, called the Tusken Slayer, the blade that sliced down the Tuskens. Jim Smith says, I hate the episode 3 Vader saber. Episode 3 Vader saber? You mean episode 3 Anakin saber? I love it. I like that Graflex style that is chromed. Not Vader's fault. JQ sabers made me one, and I still have it. That's one I don't think I'll ever get rid of. I really like it. It is, I don't know if it started out as a Graflex, to be honest, because it looks like like the bunny ears don't move and stuff like that. So I don't know what it's like based off of, but it's all chrome. It's really, really nice the way JQ did it for me. The only other one I know of in the world like that, my friend Steve has over in England, Scorpion from FX Sabers. He has the other, like the twin of my JQ saber. Vader has lightsaber resistant armor. Oh, maybe he wove some cortosis into it or something. That's what happened. Shicho seems the easiest for me. What, you can do a bunch of flips. I think that isn't a Shicho, the one with all the flips and jumps. I think so. I think that's the way they kind of jump around a lot. Let's see. Oh, Bert's here. What's going on, Bert? Yeah, still up in here. Was up kind of late past couple of nights, and I wanted to do a show where I talk to you guys about Star Wars and lightsabers. So I figured tonight was a pretty good night to do it. You know, I want to watch kind of in prep. I want to talk a little bit about Star Wars because I'm getting up to the point of doing my watch along party for Return of the Jedi. And, you know, then that brings us closer to what comes after Return of the Jedi, which is episode 7. So I was starting to think about the sequel trilogy more. And I was like, oh, you know, we should really just start talking about some Star Wars stuff and, you know, gripes and different things. So I know it's going to come up when I get to watching those movies. And then when I get to actually watch episode 9, it'll be the first time that I'll be watching episode 9 full through. And we'll do like a party online where we'll have Harris, we'll have Gabe, we'll all be watching it together. And, you know, I'll be watching at least the first hour for the first time. And I saw the second hour because I was an hour late to that movie. Let's see. I feel like Sith are abusive and the Jedi actually care. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the, you know, that's kind of the point. The Jedi are very, very loving, and like Anakin says, they love without, you know, unconditionally. So that's a really cool way to be, without conditions. That's really nice. You know, he couldn't cope with that. He couldn't hold on to that though. But for the most part, Jedi do. The Emperor holds Vader back in Force knowledge. Yeah, like, you know, I guess like it just depends when we're talking about too, because the Emperor goes through different feelings about Vader. You know, at the very first, for a very long time, he thought Vader was the shit. Like, do you remember when he's talking to Yoda and he's like, Darth Vader is going to be more powerful than either of us? You know, so he really has confidence in Vader. But I think right then, a few hours later, when Vader lost his limbs, that was a big, huge signal to me that it was correct about the Force being residing in the body. And when parts of the body are cut off, your connection to the Force diminishes as well. And I think that's kind of what happened to Darth Vader. Is as soon as the Emperor saw that he was that disabled in a way, he was probably knocked him back a few rungs as far as what he thought his potential was going to be. And then when he got him in the suit, and it was the end of Revenge of the Sith, and Vader was crushing all the machines in the room and walking and asking about Padme and freaking out, and the Emperor smiled. I think that at that point, the Emperor was rejuvenated in the fact that he thought that this guy, yeah, he's so powerful that maybe it doesn't matter that a lot of these limbs are lost. But then as time went by, after the first Death Star was lost, I think Darth Vader sunk down a few rungs and he never got back up again to that same level of being the Emperor's right-hand man truly. He was the Emperor's right-hand man, but I don't think the Emperor at that point, like Jim says, at that point, the Emperor probably was holding back. I read some great fan fiction stories back in the 90s before even before it was actually even before the prequels came out. There was a great fan fiction on the Force.net. I don't know if it's still there. It's a whole fan fiction section on the Force.net, and some of these stories were incredibly entertaining. And one of them had to do with the Emperor and what the Emperor thought of Darth Vader, and all the time you got to see inside Darth Vader's head too. He would think about Padme, and at that point we didn't know her name was Padme. But he would think about Luke's mom. He would think about his past. It was very interesting. And then the Emperor would kind of catch him in these thought processes, because the Emperor was invasive to the minds of his subordinates. So the Emperor kind of knew that there was these doubts inside Vader. That's how the fan fiction put it. And I thought it was very accurate. Oh, that's so nice. TK Boomer Fun. Thank you. You're saying, I wish when I get to that point, saber building and your know-how, to have the same saber building and know-how. Thank you. Yeah, you'll get there. You know, there's lots of resources. Look at all the forums. There's lots of people on the forums willing to help you. And then if you need help, ask on the forums. Facebook, it's a little harder because the thread kind of rolls by and it's like dated after a couple days. But on the forums, you could like ask questions in the question threads and find information that's already been posted. Really, really helpful stuff. And then, you know, when you make friends on the forums, like I made quick friends on the forums with a couple people like early on. And like at first I thought like people were like on the forums were like, maybe they were kind of like not mean, but like a little snotty or something. And it just wasn't true. Like I was kind of wrong about that. Like a couple people on the forums kind of reached out to me and became friends with me right off the bat. And it was really nice to have a couple friends. And then those friends knew more than me. So I was able to ask them questions. And then, you know, eventually when I went to YouTube, I could ask people on YouTube questions. Like a couple weeks ago, you know, I had FET263 and Jedi Arms Dealer on here helping me through my problem that I had with my Profi board. And, you know, so you make a couple friends, and then like I told Jedi Arms Dealer, it's like even when you don't know the answer, you usually know who to ask, you know. So it's nice to have those to make those friends that they know a little more than you. And then when they don't know, they'll ask somebody who knows, like they know who knows, you know. That's usually what happens. I haven't read these because I'm afraid I will really realize how screwed up Kathleen Kennedy and her ilk have ruined Star Wars. Yeah, you know, it's a little hard to put that aside, put this new stuff aside when you go back to the books. I really had a hard time. I'm telling you, I really had a hard time getting back to Legends after these sequel trilogy movies were finished, because I had such high hopes, especially before The Last Jedi. I thought that Ruin Johnson was going to really make a stellar film. Honestly, I kept looking at stuff like this. I kept looking at where is it? I kept looking at stuff like this, and I was like, oh, this is, you know, this is what we're going to get. We're going to get something like this. And that's just, you know, we didn't get this cool stuff. Imagine withholding Luke for 40 years, the hero of all, above all heroes, who rose to the top and laid down his sword against the most evil fuck in the entire galaxy. He laid down his sword. He said, I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you. And then 40 years later, not only do we have to wait for Luke to show up, and we think he's going to come in the first movie. Why not? Why didn't you put Luke in that first movie? Were you stupid? That's the stupidest mistake that I could think of. Because that opened it up for the next guy to come along, and when there's no groundwork laid down, Ruin Johnson was able to do whatever he wanted with Luke, and he made him look like a fool and a butthead, you know. But really, if JJ had put Luke into action and said, this is who Luke is, this is what Luke's doing, Luke's a hero, Luke come in. Of course, Luke won't raise his weapon to his nephew if he didn't even raise his weapon to the Emperor. He laid down his sword, remember? He would not raise it to Leia's son. He loved Leia, remember? So that's just all BS. That's all BS. That stuff never happened. That's garbage. That's Jake Skywalker. That's not Luke Skywalker. Let's see. Seer Smash Channel. Mara really fits in with the original cast. She's a hallmark of Golden Age Star Wars. In my opinion, she's as irreplaceable as Lando. Precisely. She's as irreplaceable as Lando. That's a good point. And she does fit in with all these personalities. If you had Mara there, you know, that's really what they were missing in the new movies, was the range of characters on the scope and quantity of Game of Thrones. Because if you have such a wide-ranging cast of many, many different characters, like you have Mara in there, you know, you have Lando right when episode 7 first opens up, plus a slew of people we've never heard of because so many years went by. There'd be lots and lots of people the audience wasn't familiar with. But that also gives the audience the impression of, we don't know who is the hero here. We don't know, is anyone here a spy, or are these people, who's going to rise up? And it gives you a lot of options. But when you only have a couple people you introduce in your new trilogy, there's and you don't even develop their stories properly. For instance, Finn, who was set up to be kind of like a Jedi, then redacted, and then reset up to be like a Jedi again. It's like too little, too late. You didn't do it right. You didn't do it properly. Wasn't a plan for those movies. But if you had Mara in there, if you had the people from the expanded universe and their personalities did work with each other, there's a reason why Luke and Mara were married and were attracted to each other. It's fully developed in these books, and it's rational. And there's a lot of rational choices that the characters make that really makes sense because of who they are. Han wasn't the type of person to go back to smuggling. You know, that wasn't, it's apparent in this book, which is like 1 year after he quit smuggling. He's turning into a different guy. You know, he's not going to abandon his family and go become a smuggler. That just doesn't make sense. That's made up by people who weren't fans of this, who didn't really know Han, you know. She's as irreplaceable as Lando, but not as much as the classic trio, of course. Zahn nailed it with her. Absolutely. I love bringing that evil type of, or that antagonistic character back around. I mean, how wonderful is that to have? That was a, you know, I've actually been downloading the audiobooks, the Timothy Zahn trilogy in audiobook, because even though I've read them before, I do want to re-explore them, because I do remember there was magic there. And now with the sort of failure, in my opinion, of the new movies to garner the same excitement and the same level of interesting characters, I mean, the characters just aren't interesting. They were either given too much in the case of Rey, and she really didn't have to work for what she had at as much as you would expect, and or they just completely reduced and marginalized the characters in the case of Poe Dameron and Finn. You know, Finn being the most interesting of the trio because he's a former stormtrooper, so he could present a really interesting story, a Mara Jade-like story. You know, imagine you have Mara Jade as a 50-year-old in The Force Awakens, and then maybe you have a flashback of this cyberpunk Luke time frame with a younger Mara, and then you go back again, and maybe you have a character like Finn, who is an up-and-coming Jedi, who can kind of learn from all these people who are around These people didn't go run and hide. Luke didn't go run and hide. He would never go run and hide. That wasn't that character. That was a fundamental misunderstanding. Yeah, the Frog's Apprentice is a pretty cute name, isn't that? Am I allowed to vote in the TCSS Saber Build contest? If you are, you entered Lightpaw. Awesome. Yeah, I think I can vote. I'll vote for Lightpaw for sure. For sure. I'll go there right after this is done. The Slayer Saber. Oh, my dog is poking me, so I'll have to wrap this up. But let's see. Maybe he's going to lay down. Love the skinny effects, but hate the Vader episode 3. I think I read that one already. Melissa's World. I don't mind the sequels despite their flaws. That is awesome. Yeah, I know you enjoy the sequels. I'm glad about that. I really am. I hope that people can enjoy them. They're Star Wars movies. They should have been made better, in my opinion, or made with more thought and care. The look of them, the sound of them, all that stuff. It looks like Star Wars. It sounds like Star Wars. They got John Williams, to do the score. Beautiful score. I bought the episode 9 CD. It's a little disjointed. Honestly, I think there's so much going on in the movie that the score ends up being disjointed. But the episode 7 score is phenomenal. The episode 8 score is pretty good too. I do like the episode 8 score a lot, but episode 7 score is magic. If you enjoy the movies, I am happy for you. The thing that I think about it is just the potential. I just feel like there was potential that wasn't reached. It's like if you ever become a teacher and you see a student who didn't reach their potential, it would be a disappointment to you, especially if you followed that student for their whole life, for many, many years, and you knew that they could do better, and you knew that there was magic underneath there. But if they were never going to see that potential, it's just a tragedy. That's the tragic part of the story. What we didn't get was the tragedy. What we got, if you guys enjoyed it, if people out there enjoy it, that's awesome. What I'm upset about is what we didn't get. That's where I am still longing for this. So, turn to the books, turn to some other things. It's not the end of the world, right? But you can find other things. There's still more Star Wars movies coming, and we'll see. Maybe something will catch my eye at some point and reignite that passion that I believe that the makers of these things used to have. Let's see. Bert says, I usually work on my gyrocopter at night due to it being quiet. Just happened to notice you on. Well, thanks for joining me. Thanks everybody for joining me tonight. Really, really happy to have you guys checking me out tonight and seeing what we're talking about here. We're discussing Star Wars movies, mostly lightsabers, specifically lightsabers. But Star Wars is the overarching subject with lightsabers. I always kind of say it's like baseball, right? But it's like, imagine you just like baseball bats and you just want to talk about baseball bats. It's like people be like, wait, what? You want to talk about baseball bats only? That's kind of like what lightsabers are in the start. It's like, oh, you just want to talk about lightsabers? Well, we talk about Star Wars, but it sparks from our love of lightsabers here on this channel. That's kind of what we're all about. Building lightsabers, and that stems from Star Wars. So got to talk Star Wars. Got to talk Star Wars when we have some time here. I believe Yoda's saber was made from a Praco camera flash. Praco. Okay, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That was a pretty cool idea that they had for the Highland, Highland flash gun for Vader's, and the Graflex flash gun for Luke, and then many years later, when they were making the prequels, to go back to that and say, you know what, we should go for some more camera parts for our characters' lightsabers. That's interesting. Oh, Melissa's World says, I'm on TRA and I've been using it with the screen reader. TRA is screen reader accessible. Thanks for the accessibility. Thank you, the Rebel Armory. Anybody interested in lightsabers, learning more about lightsabers, maybe building your own, check out the Rebel Armory. Check out the Custom Saber Shop forums. Check out FX Sabers. That's where I went to first. I went to, probably the Custom Saber Shop forums early on as well. And just, hung out there, looked at pictures, learned a lot, asked questions, read the threads, try to understand. At that time, the way the boards were coming out, the soundboards, was much slower. It was like I had a lot of time to be able to understand what the board can do. Nowadays, the stuff comes out so fast. It's you really got to be on top of it, I think, to kind of learn about all the different stuff that's happening. It's like a lot of times my Saber friends will message me to tell me about the new product, and that would have never happened back in the day. I would have heard about the product first, but now people tell me about what came out because you can't be everywhere at once, right? And things are coming out all the time. The first friends in Dewback Wing I made were Corbin Doss and SpaceWindu long ago. Wow. That's awesome, Jim. Corbin Doss, yeah, he had the original Killer Penny, which was the first lightsaber that I saw on YouTube, and I absolutely flipped my lid, and I knew I wanted a crystal focus lightsaber. That's what the Killer Penny was, a crystal focus lightsaber. It was a beautiful, beautiful lightsaber, and they recently remade it a few years ago. I know it's kind of getting late, but at some point I want to be able to show you my vape. It seems like a lightsaber. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. Let me think. How could you show me that? Because I know you probably can't post a link. You can send me an email. I'll put my email in the. If you send me an email within the next couple of minutes, I will show the picture. I'll put my email in the chat. I don't know how else that you could show me a picture, because I know you probably can't put a link there. Anyone here of Quinot syndrome from Legends? Quinot syndrome on Wikipedia. All right, let's see. Quinot syndrome. All right, let's see. Wikipedia. I'm going to pull this up here. We're going to take a look at what Quinot syndrome is. I hope it's not too disgusting, Melissa. I don't want to be grossed out. Let's see. Okay, Quinot syndrome was a debilitating and ultimately fatal disease that caused immense pain to its victims. Melissa, what are you doing to us? Humans were among the susceptible species, and the pain caused by the disease could be held at bay with doses of painkillers such as Perogen, but there was no cure. What about death sticks? Could I use death sticks if I got Quinot syndrome? During the Cold War between the Galactic Republic and the Sith Empire, the Empire's Moff Taigo was diagnosed with the disease and acquired several organs from the black market in order to replace his infected organs. I wonder why they couldn't grow something. They needed to acquire organs on the black market. Surprised that they couldn't grow some kind of clone organs or something. Zelabitha Efhad, the first minister of the Coruscant Ministry of Ingress, died from Quinot syndrome in 22 BBY on the eve of the Clone Wars between the Galactic Republic and the Confederacy. Around 12 ABY, the Jedi trainee Nikos Mar was diagnosed with Quinot syndrome, and though his lover, Cray Mingla, sought to cure him, her efforts to transfer his consciousness to a droid body failed, and Mar died. First appeared in 1995 in Children of the Jedi. I don't think I read Children of the Jedi. That's probably why it didn't sound familiar to me. That's interesting. That's probably why that didn't sound familiar to me. Like back in the day when I was going through Star Wars books, I had to pick and choose. There was so many Star Wars books. Like even in the New Jedi Order, I remember there was like 17 or 19 books. So I had to. I didn't read them all. I read select ones. I made sure just to read, like, I would kind of look online and look at different places to find out like what happened in the books. And then I read the ones that I like, when I found out that somebody died, that I wanted to know how that happened, or it was like going to be some event. I made sure I read that set of books, but I didn't read all of them. Like at some point, you know, especially the way things are going with like Star Wars and the movies, like if the movies keep being weak to me, then I will probably be, you know, going back and reading more of the books that are there. I think there's hundreds. Diabetes Hose says the attack by D's nuts has left Yo Mama scarred and deformed. Yes, they have. These nuts hurt my mama. They hurt my mama. Would Arabesh Braille be possible? I think so. Yeah, because like embossed Arabesh could act as like an Arabesh Braille. But I can't read Arabesh. Even I think Gabe can read Arabesh because he read some stuff in Arabesh before. Jose R. Search up Abigail Shapiro, bro. Who's that? Who's Abigail Shapiro? Is that a Star Wars character? Doesn't sound like a Star Wars character. The Rebel Armory, thinking some Arabesh raised or Braille on my stand. Oh yeah. I think that'd be cool. Imagine if it said like Melissa's World in Arabesh, or if it said maybe something related to Kanan. You know, something related to Kanan Jarrus or something. Yeah, the score on the Last Jedi. I put on the scores a lot of the time to read the books, and I have all the scores in like one playlist, and then I randomize the playlist so I get like a song from The Last Jedi, then a song from A New Hope, and then a song from some other series. And when I'm reading, a lot of the times these songs kind of help the story along a little bit. It often helps. It often helps the story. Darth Guide, hello Space. I messaged you on Facebook. Oh, I'll take a look, Darth Guide. Thank you. I'll take a look at that. I'm not now I'm trying to go to Facebook every day. I am trying to go to Facebook every day. I will check those messages. Sometimes I don't notice when there's like a message in a certain spot, but I usually get an email and then I try to check the email, but I will look for that. May the force be with you, Melissa. May the force be with you. Let's see. FX Forum is how I found out about the TCSS contest. Awesome. Yeah. There's a section on FX Sabers forum for the custom saber shop, and usually have some news on there about the products and different things that are out of stock, and also news like that about custom saber shop contest. I was thinking about that contest too earlier in the year, and time ran out for me to get something into that. Builds for myself have been on hold while I finish some stuff for some other people. Let's see. Melissa's saying, sorry for the creep. No, it's I was joking. Melissa, about that. I've been studying Legends a lot. It beats the quarantine boredom. Absolutely. That's what's really cool about the Star Wars Legends stuff being there, and we all have this time now that you can kind of like dive into that and see. I hit you up because I was trying to get 2 of your TriStar blades from you. Okay, awesome. I'll take a look at that. I'll take a look. Yeah, if you need something specially done on the TriStars, I could do that for you. I know a couple people asked for like something to be, you know, TriStar to be longer than I offer on Civilized Saber, so I can do that. Or if you need something special like what Steve got, ST Productions is getting a Kylo Ren TriStar, which means there's like basically 3 TriStars, you know, a main blade and 2 Quylons. So I'll definitely take a look at your message and see what you're asking about. Yeah, no worries, Melissa. I was joking. I really wasn't freaked out about it. I was just trying to pull your chain. I was just trying to talk some shit. See you later, Darth God. Yeah, I will check your message right when I get off of this, because I'm probably going to wrap this up. Imagine, yeah. I mean, you could write a little documentary and kind of make a little documentary about Star Wars diseases. That'd be a good video. That'd be a good video, I think. You could start like a little Legends series and talk about what you know about different things in the Legends universe. You know, that'd be sweet. I would watch that video. I think that'd be cool. You know, there's probably images you can grab, and you don't even have, like, I like some of these videos where like people will kind of talk over an image, even if it's just like a still image. You know, you could just like narrate something. It'd be awesome. I think that'd be cool. All right, so I think we talked about a lot tonight. We talked a little bit about Star Wars movies. I showed you guys the KR Sabers strip. If you missed that part, go back and take a look at that. There was a little bit of a close-up. I hope it wasn't too blurry with my webcam on that. And I'll do more tests. I'm going to be making that blade, probably be done by the weekend. And I don't know what I'm going to do as far as testing it in a saber, because I can maybe hook something up as far as a Profi saber. I have a potential Profi saber I could hook up to test these blades, because that's what's going to have to happen. I have the box tester to test it on the bench, but I also need a tester to test it, you know, swinging around, making sure, and everything's so solid with the blade. I'm sure it's going to be awesome. I mostly just want to test just to see how bright it really, really is. Okay, cool. Yeah, you need more info on what I want. I'll message you. Okay, cool. I'll let you know. Awesome. All right. Well, this weekend I'm gonna have another video go up. It's a Graflex video, a reveal from my friend Chris's Graflex, my best friend growing up. I made him a lightsaber out of a Graflex that he bought. I installed some neopixel stuff into that, crystal focus. That video is being edited right now. I have a video coming out for Steve's Kylo Ren that I spoke about, Kylo Ren TriStar blades. That's pretty exciting. And I have the Qui-Gon by Goodman that is almost ready. I need to reveal that saber. My customer's waiting forever on that one. And right as soon as that's wrapped up, we're going to be back on Malcolm Saber, amongst some other. I've got some other projects going on too that Harris is helping me with. Harris came over a few days ago. We really got far on like 3 different projects that time he came over. So that was really good, and I think he's going to come over again in a couple of days, try to help me with some of these some of the projects I have going, and then yeah, we can get the videos done and put them out so you guys can see the final product. I think that Graflex will be done on the weekend, or the video will be out tomorrow night, maybe Saturday morning. Steve's Kylo, hopefully over the weekend, that video will be ready so I can get them to Steve. And then next week, we will hopefully have that Goodman Quai, which I know not only the owner is waiting for, but a few other people are waiting to see what that's like with a neopixel. And I think that's going to be crazy. And yeah, Bert, I've been wanting to do this live stream with Malcolm Saber again, and ran into some technical issues with a saber I was putting together over the past week. But now that that's kind of done, Yeah, I do. I want to get back into and I did some work on Malcolm Saber like off the air in between. So we're a little farther ahead than what you guys saw last time. But yeah, probably I would think like maybe like Wednesday, like maybe like Monday or Wednesday this coming week, we'll do a build stream for a couple hours. So I hope you guys come back and check that out. And yeah, I think that's it. Let me see. Melissa said there's a real life Quinnots-like disease known as CRDS, which is also a painful disease, aka RDS, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. Oof, that's rough. These are things that we are lucky not to have, right? Yeah, if you do a video about the Star Wars diseases and stuff, see if you can include the one about the orbalisks that Darth Bane was dealing with for a while. He had orbalisks attached to his body. Those are really cool because they can like deflect lightsabers and give you like strength in the dark side, but they're dangerous because you can't remove them, and they also like steal your energy like a parasite. So I don't know if that qualifies as a disease, but the one thing that reminded me is when you say the Quinnots thing is a painful disease, the orbalisks are painful, and that's like why they're kind of powerful for Darth Bane, because he utilizes the dark side to harness that pain and like turn that pain into like anger and like bad force energy and stuff. So it's pretty interesting in that regard. I guess if you're dark side, you can maybe use some of this pain and some of these diseases for the benefit of calling up some dark side energy. It's called orbalisks. It's like ORBALYSKS. I think is how it's spelled. Orbalisks. It's what Darth Bane had attached to his body. If you look up the Darth Bane trilogy, you could probably look up like a little synopsis, or better yet, read or listen to the Darth Bane trilogy. An incredible trilogy. Probably some of the best Star Wars books aside from the Timothy Zahn trilogy. Yeah, Bert, I'm going to take a look at your saber right after this. All right, everybody. Well, have a great night. I will talk to you in the coming week. We'll have a couple new videos up over the weekend. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you to anyone that will watch this video in the future. It will be posted on my channel as soon as it's finished processing when we're done here. And that's about it. I will talk to you again very, very soon. Saber the moment. Get your sabers ready.
What did you say?
What did you say? You say we're going to end the show? That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. I'm going to save the one you love.
The main thing is to protect these characters. Make sure that they still continue to live in the way that you created them.
Thank you.
to live in the way that you created them. To live in the way that you created them. And that the universe of Star Wars continues to grow.
Do you like what I do here on SpaceWindu channel? You might like my second channel. It's called Comic Book Creation Live. And that's where I work on my latest comic book, Albatross Junction, with my friend Kevin. We do a live show every single Wednesday. You might want to drop by and check it out. It's a really cool story that is sort of like Star Wars in some ways. There's some space travel, there's a lot of action, alien creatures, monsters, and future Earth, maybe over 1,000 years into the future. So go check out Comic Book Creation Live.